Breaking right now, growing speculation that Meghan Markle may return to the Suits comeback. The creator, Aaron Korsh, has said he is open to old stars returning to the show's Los Angeles set spin-off. And of course, we know that Suits is now one of Netflix's biggest hits in old episodes, and arguably, as her Hollywood dream has taken another brutal blow, it remains her only entertainment industry success story. Royal YouTube sensation P-Dina joins me now. P-Dina, look, I know that this is something that Meghan wouldn't want to do in so many ways. However, it is increasingly becoming likely, I think, that this does end up happening, because I'm not saying immediately they want to launch the Suits spin-off, make sure it's a hit, etc., etc. But if she wants to keep Netflix sweet, if she wants to retain some sort of deal with Netflix, and Suits is the only thing that is a success, that may be where she has to go. I would imagine to begin with, it would be much more likely that she'll star in some sort of retrospective documentary reuniting with the rest of the cast, that type of thing. But at some point, I would see a return to Suits as at least a possibility.
Yes, I think that would really be one of the options for her that could fare well for her. The only issue I see is she has, I believe, this thing in her mind around this show because, here it's just like a cable show. It's not really A-lister status, although it's doing well on Netflix. I believe she feels like this is beneath her. She wants to get the big movie starring roles, A-listers. This is not A-lister status to her. So, and I think there are some issues with some of the other cast members around Meghan. They haven't really heard from her since the wedding because she's distanced herself from them. And I just don't know that this is going to be an up for her, but it's the one way, like you're saying, that maybe she should probably do this because it seems like the right move if you want to have any success. I just don't know that she considers it to be a move that she wants to do because she could have done this, I think, a while ago, and she always has held back on doing it. So I'm not really sure it's going to be something she wants to do.
Let's start with the obvious. Meghan Markle's Hollywood career has been a disaster since leaving the royal family. She and Harry signed a multi-million-dollar deal with Netflix, and what do they have to show for it? A failed podcast, underwhelming documentaries, and a deal that's reportedly hanging by a thread. Netflix is in the business of making money, not in the business of propping up celebrities who can't deliver. Meghan walked away from the royal family thinking Hollywood would bow at her feet, but Hollywood doesn't work that way. You have to prove yourself. You have to produce content that people actually want to watch. And let's be honest, Meghan's brand, playing the victim, lecturing the public, just isn't selling.
No, and obviously she did make it clear that she was going to be like Grace Kelly, and she was never going to return to acting. P-Dina, acting is below a humanitarian like Meghan Markle. Now, that was a strategic mistake, because the royal family would have quite happily had Meghan continue to act in projects. Now, look, I'm sure they wouldn't have been particularly keen on some of the, shall we say, X-rated scenes, the sex scenes that used to appear in Suits. However, even in the last series of Suits, Meghan was getting the scripts sent by the producers to the palace so that they could just make sure that there was nothing that might embarrass the royal family. Now, as I say, the royal family were totally fine for Meghan to continue in her career. They never asked her to stop acting. It would have been really sensible, because then the world maybe would never have got to know the real Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle was much more appealing to people as Rachel Zane than she was as herself.
Mm, Yeah. I think trying to put her personality behind a character is the safer route for her because when she shows up to try to be her authentic self, it is a flop. It is cringy. It is, oh no, you didn't. Go say sorry to the people you've hurt. Like, she can't show up as she's trying to do in this With Love Megan show. And I think that's part of the problem. So for me, I think Megan has she has a chance. I don't know that this is something she'll want to do, but just maybe she'll do it because she needs the money, she needs some successes, and but like, she can't really do that and still appear like a royal. She can't do that and appear like a humanitarian. I think if she had like real star quality like Angelina Jolie, she could almost have that profile because Angelina Jolie, she does do a lot of humanitarian work. She really is doing great work with the UN. So she has a profile that I think Megan wants to emulate, but she just can't seem to hit it that way. She's in a very tricky situation, I think. I don't know. This might be the way she has to go. It might be the only way she has to go because they show up and they do everything for you. Like, here, learn these lines. She doesn't have to rely on her own real creativity, which is always not done well for her
I know. And the
because she's
thing
always
is,
copied other people.
So now we have Suits, a show that has seen a resurgence on Netflix. It's become one of the platform's biggest surprise hits, leading to talk of a spin-off. Naturally, this has sparked questions. Would Meghan return to the one thing she's actually been successful at? On paper, it makes sense. If Netflix is keeping her around, they need her to do something to justify her contract. And if Suits is one of their top properties, putting Meghan in a reunion special or a limited return could make financial sense. But here's the catch, Meghan sees Suits as beneath her. She doesn't want to go back to the show that made her famous because, in her mind, she's moved past that. The only problem? Hollywood doesn't see it that way. She's not an A-list actress. She's not getting lead movie roles. The industry isn't throwing scripts at her. Her only option might be the very thing she thinks she's too good for. And this is where Meghan's other problem comes in. Her former colleagues aren't exactly thrilled about working with her again. P-Dina reveals that many of the Suits cast members haven't heard from her since the wedding. And, folks, we know exactly why that is. Meghan Markle uses people. She climbs the social ladder and then burns the bridge behind her. When she was a working actress, she was happy to be part of the Suits family. But the moment she became a duchess, she ditched them. She wanted to be seen as royalty, not as an actress from a basic cable show. But now that Hollywood isn't giving her the red carpet treatment she expected, suddenly, she might need those old connections. The only problem? People remember how you treat them. And if she ignored her co-stars for years, why would they welcome her back now?
what I find so funny, I mean, God, it's really interesting looking at those images, isn't it? Because in her head, P-Dina, Meghan is like the modern day Grace Kelly, just like she thinks she's carrying Princess Diana's legacy. That is not true. I mean, Grace Kelly was one of the most accomplished actresses of her generation. She was
Right.
an international superstar as a movie actress. Now, sure, she didn't return to acting in the end, although if she hadn't had died so tragically in that car accident, she may well have. She had had a couple of meetings about doing a couple of movies and she had considered it. But again, it's, Meghan Markle is no Grace Kelly because she didn't really achieve much in acting. And actually, she would have had an opportunity at the start of her time in the royal family to get some of those big movies. Look, I just think the hindsight is a wonderful thing, isn't it? But it was a strategic error on her part.
Yeah, I think she sees going to Suits as a step back. And now she feels like she keeps going back if she does take this part or if, what this offer may be. But she wants to hit that A level status and it's too late. It's not going to happen at this point. But I think she's going to still keep trying, if you know what I mean. I think this is for her a fight to the death. Like, she thinks she needs to get it and she's going to keep trying because she has it in her head that that's what she wants. Like she and Harry are, they're both the same way. They don't seem to get that sometimes you just got to do other things. You can't try to get what you want because you're not going to get it. I don't think that they really are taking that in that you can't always have what you want. Like normal people are used to, they're not used to that. And so it's the keep trying and the failing and the perpetration of everything that gives us so much to talk about because they should have changed routes a long time ago, but they're not. They're just going to keep trying. And it's just such a big, massive failure. It's unbelievable. I mean, I can see how this is going to turn out. I can see it in my head, and it's not going to go well for them.
Another fascinating point here, Meghan isn't looking for any role. She wants A-list status. She wants to be the next Angelina Jolie or Meryl Streep. But Hollywood doesn't see her that way. Look, Hollywood is brutal. It doesn't matter if you're a former duchess or not, if you don't have the talent or the box office draw, you don't get the big roles. Meghan might have name recognition, but she doesn't have acting credibility. Her role in Suits was fine, but it wasn't award-winning. And now, after years of being out of the industry, she's even less bankable. So, the question is, will Meghan accept reality and take what she can get? Or will she keep chasing a Hollywood career that simply isn't going to happen? As conservatives, we should pay attention to this story because it perfectly illustrates everything wrong with the entitlement mindset we see in culture today.
It's not.
No, indeed.
Or
and
Harry
of course,
or Meghan.
no, and there's this added political stress at the moment on Harry and Meghan. I mean, I was really taken by Meghan McCain's post on X where she said if Trump deports Prince Harry, they will put him on Mount Rushmore. Now, as in, this could be a really good move for Trump politically. He's cracking down on illegal migrants. The Heritage Foundation is saying, look, Harry's a foreign drug user. Why is he allowed in the country? So the pressure is piling on. And then we've had developments on this from a political point of view, P-Dina, over the course of the week, because Niall Gardner of the Heritage Foundation posted Prince Harry visa case to have first court hearing under Donald Trump after Duke's drug admission. So the idea is to sort of like keep the drumbeat up, keep appealing to Donald Trump, keep appealing to the MAGA base. But then in a significant development, Suella Braverman, who is the former Home Secretary of the United Kingdom, a serving MP in the Conservative Party, visited Washington, D.C. to speak at the Heritage Foundation and posted on X while she was in the city, the law should apply without fear or favour and equally to everyone, including Prince Harry. There is a compelling public interest in disclosing these documents. Cover-ups erode trust. Transparency builds it. Heritage is right to be fighting for the American people. So this was the first senior politician on either side of the Atlantic to go public and back the Heritage Foundation. And then she even spoke about it in an interview with Niall Gardner. Let's have a look at this and then I'll get you to react off the back, P-Dina.
And without any doubt, Prince Harry should be fully held to account.
I agree wholeheartedly, Niall, and the Heritage Foundation has really been leading the fight for transparency and the public interest on this case. I think there's a very strong case for President Trump to intervene and to direct the release and disclosure of these documents. The American people should have the right to know what's happened here. Prince Harry is a citizen who's come to the United States. We need to know whether he broke the rules to get into the United States. If he did, the American people have a right to know, and those who allowed that to happen should be held to account. Or did Prince Harry receive special treatment upon his application to get into the United States? And if that happened, again, that's unacceptable, and the American people have the right to know. So I wholeheartedly support this mission to get to the truth and expose what's happened in the interests of transparency and accountability.
P-Dina, your reaction to that?
Meghan Markle walked away from the royal family thinking she could do better. She thought the world owed her something just because of her name. But life doesn't work that way. Success has to be earned. Hollywood isn't going to hand her an Oscar just because she complains about the monarchy on a Netflix special. And the public isn't going to buy into her victim narrative forever.
Wow. For me, I just look at the times we're living in and the time they have just such bad timing, don't they? Like they came over when it was the pandemic, right? Now they're here. There's this immigration issues that are happening with President Trump right now. And Harry is caught in the middle of a fraud of an immigration application, and it's like they have the worst timing of all. I tell you, Harry, I mean, you have really done a doozy with yourself. I mean, you are making news around something that you've clearly lied on, because if he didn't lie, he would have asked for this to be exposed a while ago. But he's trying to keep it as a cover up. But now with this new administration, everything is coming out. There are things that are so unprecedented. People are losing their jobs in the federal government. People are being called out. Anybody who covered up this application, they too will have to account. So, like, nobody's safe, and no one's going to protect Harry to save themselves. Like, he is out there cold because it's going to come out. He's going to be revealed as someone who lied on their application, and everything that he has said has not panned out to be about his word. He's talked about in the past about, making sure information gets out and to not cover up things around his court cases, but he's doing the same thing that he's talking about. So his
Okay.
word has never really been uh something that made him rise above the others. He's not a man of his word, essentially. So he will be exposed. That's what's going to happen. This is the worst timing of all. And I say good. I think there's like what Cat Williams said in 2024, 2025. The truth is going to come out. It's going to be exposed. And that's for all people that have tried to cover up things. And Harry, we know, has tried to cover up a lot. And they've always
Yes,
been
yes.
exposed, Dan, if you think about it, with, even Finding Freedom, the book, and the things that came out in the court case about Meghan having to
Mm-hmm.
apologize.
Mm-hmm.
They have
How
not
stupid
really
do
been
they
able
think
to
we
manage
are?
all their wrongdoings.
This is why we emphasize personal responsibility. Meghan's problems aren't anyone else's fault. They aren't the royal family's fault. They aren't the media's fault. They are the direct result of her own actions, burning bridges, alienating people, and thinking she's owed more than she's actually earned. So, where does Meghan Markle go from here? The reality is that she's backed herself into a corner. She wants Hollywood stardom, but Hollywood isn't interested. She wants respect in the industry, but she's burned too many bridges. And now, the only thing that might save her career is the very show she thought she was too good for. This is the classic story of someone who overplayed their hand. And unless Meghan learns the value of humility, she's going to keep losing. At the end of the day, success isn't about entitlement, it's about what you bring to the table. And right now, Meghan Markle just doesn't have much to offer. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more.